Hi, good evening, everyone. Uh, Thank you, all of you, for taking time off to be here. I'm happy to have a good array of people on this forum. I think we've got people from the fashion business, CDIT, the food business. I think it's a pretty motley crew. Uh, like I said earlier in the course of our meeting, I'm a Luddite when it comes to technology, but you're going to kind of delineate and explain things to me. So my first question really is, in the last couple of years, I mean, we know that technology keeps changing, but as far as consumer and cloud technologies are concerned, what are the big changes that you've seen in the last couple of years, and how has it changed the way you work? What are the changes that have happened within your organization, and what are the things that have changed in the market itself, in the environment that you operate in? Anyone? Amit, you can go first.
Thanks, Eddie. So I represent Rebel Foods. It's the largest internet restaurant or cloud kitchen player globally. We have like more than 5,000 plus restaurants.
5,000 restaurants, you said, yeah.
Internet restaurants, mostly. We are now getting opened in Omnichannel in physical environment also. So, as you know, means the journey of our company in last decade, it's more than a decade-old company. We started like normal small food outlets as a fast food wraps and rolls. Later, after 3-4 years, on the basis of data collection and insights, we realized that customers, 74% of customers were not even aware where is our outlet, and they were ordering online only, which was kind of a light bulb movement for us, epiphany for us, that rather than staying on high street retail shops, which in India is like, if you see, cost to footfall ratio is highest, one of the highest in globe. We moved back to the shops or larger areas, which are far cheaper rentals, which is one of the biggest cost in food industry, restaurant industry. And then we started multi-brand from the kitchen, and then the terminology of ghost kitchen, dark kitchen, cloud kitchen came. But it's the journey from data insights, which we have learned, and how we have pivoted our business and whole company towards that. If you see in last 3 years as a company, what has changed largely, that we have become as much as a food company, a tech company as well. So this transformation has got us very closer to the customers. And the DNA of company and the first core value is customer first, to work customer backward. So how can we remain closer to the customers, which itself puts pressure on you to adopt to emerging trends or any technology which customers so digital savvy these days are adopting.
Sure.
So that's how the transformation, if you see the DNA data-driven decisions, and then whether it's AI, which we use in kitchen for automations or quality checks for food, or let's say ML for prediction, forecasting, to reduce the wastage less than 1%. So there's a lot of back-end work which has gone behind it in technology.
So I like what you said. I mean, you said we become as much a tech company as a food company. Pulkit, similar for you. You're a fashion guy.
Hi. So we are very light in terms of tech. So we are a fashion company, apparel largely, now entering into different categories. When I joined the company, we started from scratch for online. I think early adopters for D2C in India. And I still see a lot of companies already there in the market in the last 10 years, 15 years, still not in D2C segment, largely into marketplace. And when you enter into D2C, having your own website, so we handle 3 websites and 2 apps at the moment across our brands. And having that, and still we are one of the lightest. When I talk about tech team, we literally don't have anyone in the company. Everything is SaaS, everything is outsourced. So what is new? So at different stages of the company, different things would come in. We started our app. Now we have almost 40% contribution from our app, which
40% of customers are buying through the app now.
yeah, and that too from a single brand. It's understandable for a company like Myntra and Ajio. They'll have a good contribution from app, but from us, 40 is decent. I think we are still getting up for a bigger contribution from app. We have also enabled AI. We started with very small steps. Now we're getting deeper with our search. We're getting deeper with the AI for our PLP pages. PDP already had for the longest time AI-enabled suggestive sections. So yeah, overall, now recently with the number of events happening, almost 110 events getting recorded for our website, as well as app. Data warehousing is what we are looking at, and utilization of data. That's a big challenge. First was how to store that data. Then second is how to retrieve that data, and third is how to utilize it. Otherwise, too much of data is also of no use. So this is where we are heading now, along with AI being an integral part of most of our decision makings. Data being bigger in all aspects, being it delivery or being omni-channel now. We have around 75% of these stores omni-channel enabled. Not completely omni-channel channel, but as a fulfillment center. So most of the stores, we have around 100 stores, so around 75 stores are omni-channel enabled. The long journey would be to have a true omni experience where you can buy from any of our stores and return maybe online and vice versa. So this is the roadmap we are working on. App showing really good results for us. We are also heading into that omni experience of app and store, where we're going to promote our app a bit more with our stores. Earn and burn points, which is for loyalty, is going to be added. So yeah.
Thank you. I think at the Tata Group, there's a lot happening. I mean, even at the group level, I think you've got Tata New, you've got Tata Click, and of course, at Croma, it's you. I mean, what are the changes that you see? And is it easy in a large enterprise to implement changes?
So for us, last 3 years, has been a very exponential journey. So let me just kind of go back 3 years ago. So COVID came, and we were largely a brick and mortar chain. So we had to rapidly make ourselves change into an omni-channel player primarily. And I think that's if you see worldwide as well, okay, any electronics retail change, if I have to look at Best Buy, okay, which is in US, so they are also largely an omni-channel retailer. So we had to quickly make that shift into omni-channel, and that is where a lot of focus started coming in onto the e-com side primarily. Because COVID coming in, the online business kind of just took off for us. So we did a lot of transformation on technology side, primarily to build the strong omni-channel backend. Because when you are an omni-channel player, your backend, you really need to, make a lot of transformation in that area. Because you need to build a single view of inventory, you need to build a single view of customer, you need to build a single view of price, irrespective of various channels. So front-end CX channels could be your store, or could be e-com, or could be a native app, or different touch points. So we did a lot of investment on that back end to build the omni-channel foundation. At the same time, a lot of change which we had to do on the front end layer. So we launched a completely cloud-based mobile point of sale system across all our stores. Then we revamped the entire e-commerce platform. A lot was done, to kind of make it scalable, composable platform. So a lot was changed out over there, building microservices out over there. So that was there. And then a lot of integration was required with various third parties. So for example, as you just said, Tata Neu, correct? So Tata Neu is a new baby in the house. So, we are very tightly integrated with the Tata Neu app. So for us, the journey has been, I would say, coming out of legacy and going into a complete new, modernized, platform, which is scalable, reliable, and provides a lot of agility. So that's what we have seen in last 3 years, and that is where, all our focus was.
Okay, thank you. Tell us about Impresario. I know it's a changing landscape, and you're basically in the business of giving everybody a good time. How does your space get impacted by technology?
So for people who do not know Impresario, it's a parent company for Social, Smokehouse Delhi, Saltwater Cafe, Slink and Bardo, is anti-social in low apparel. So we run close to about 65 plus outlets pan India. Uh, I think the experience that we are trying, or that is changing as I talk now, is that if you walk into a social, one thing that we want to really do is that you have connectivity from the get-go. It shouldn't feel that I've come, I have no network, I'm feeling lost. We don't want to do that. So we're doing that thing. That is also because one of the verticals for social is also a workspace vertical. So you come in the morning, 9 o'clock, we have high-speed broadband for you. You can set up your company from there. I mean, if people know the story of Boat, you would know that it was founded from, say, social at Hoskas, right? We want to make sure that it's always available for you, which means as soon as you walk in, you are able to do everything that you thought that you will be able to do, right? From browsing, ordering food, talking to friends, taking photographs, posting it on your Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you want to do. That's the first thing that's happening, and that's pretty much what the consumer facing. There's a lot of changes also happening at the backend. We've moved away from client server architecture kind of a POS to a pretty much cloud POS, which means I've opened up about 50 to 100 square feet of space for social to add one more table, make space for two more people, for them to, again sit across table and chit chat. These are the kind of things which are slowly now happening. Tomorrow you will be able to request your music in a jukebox, which can get played, on a leaner day, or during when there is not a DJ happening, because you would want to play your own music. Why can't I have Spotify? Just get integrated with the music systems out there, right? And why can't I give you something where you can choose to cue your music, which can get played? So those are the transformations that we are looking at. It's still a long journey, but we will get there.
Thank you. Pankaj?
So, last 3 years, definitely, I think tech has become a survival necessity rather than a differentiator, especially after pandemic. The other change or acceleration I am seeing is that a few years back, the brick and mortar retail was sort of competing against technology. But I see a great acceleration in they adopting and embracing the technology and creating truly omni-channel experiences. So in fact, we also launched Assort stores, by the name Assort, where we have things like a smart trial room, clienteling app, and less aisle, self checkout. So it's no longer that it is happening in Europe or US, but in India. So, and also fulfillment. So these stores, trans stores are also serving as a fulfillment center for us. So that is a big shift happening. I have been seeing this since my Lenskart days, but the pace of this adoption has accelerated. The other thing, especially in India, I see is that all e-com player now focusing a lot more on not just tier 2, but tier 3, tier 4. And that is going to bring a new set of tech demand on technology and challenges, because the infrastructure behavior quite different. Like one of the problem, which is a big problem when you go to tier 4 and a smaller thing town, is the address resolution itself for avoiding your RTOs. Like it would be पान की दुकान के सामने बरगद के पेड़ के पीछे, and how would you resolve those? So it's bringing new set of technology demands. And I also believe that last 2-3 years, the AI and machine learning, it has become more democratized in the sense that few years back we had tools, right? But now anyone can have access to the solutions to the problem, not just tools, but tools, algo, models. Like you would have a solutions for, let's say you want to have a recommendation, product recommendation, or let's say, AR, VR. So now these are available as a services. Of course you need some data science capability, but a lot of it is, especially if you want to start running, is available. So that democratization of AI and ML, I think is going to again be a big changer for especially companies which does not have deep pockets and cannot have. So those are some of the trends that I have seen, and of course we are leveraging them. Like it's not we build everything in-house, we are also partnering with ecosystem to bring new capabilities and choices to the customer.
My next question again is for you, and my question is, over the years I've seen that, when we moved away from legacy and ERP system, the CapEx used to be a very big decision, even in a small and large enterprise. But I feel that the movement to a SaaS model, I think is, pay as you go along. I feel that, do you believe that, budgets are a little easier to get approved because they don't involve large CapEx, and I want some of you to tell me whether SaaS is actually a cheaper way of operating life.
So I would say, there are phases. Of course, most of the time I found, at least in my experiences in my current as well as previous company, that initial budget approval is much easier, because what you can say that I would do POC or a pilot, which is much easier to do, right? You don't have to invest both your resources, time, and you show the success. Second is, as you may start small with, let's say if you are trying any new initiative, and see the ROI and impact of that and then grow. So from that perspective, because the upfront cost is not high, and many times these POCs are even also have very low cost or cost free, at least you have got the door to showcase that what it can do. Because earlier many times even that was a problem, that can I showcase what is the impact of this. So that is one benefit, and it gives you easy scalability, that if your revenue or transactions or operation, as per that you would have to pay, rather than a very huge upfront cost. But of course as you scale, that's where at some point of time the cost equation flips, right? But then by that time, in my view, have established the value or ROI. If it is not making sense from ROI perspective, you drop it. If it is making sense, then getting the approval for higher cost or moving to more of a capex model where overall it is cost effective is easier. But earlier many times you were not able to even demonstrate or experiment in many cases.
Thank you. Is this the same in the food business as well?
I'll give you experiences in our business. What's happened is that because we moved to a cloud-based POS, it is far more simpler for me to pull data using an API, plugging it into an ERP, which previously, when it was a client-server architecture, it would have been a little more difficult, because there would be a dump on a server, which would get, you'll have to collect the data from every single outlet, put it up on a server, and then put it up into ERP. Now what is happening is, because it's over an API, it's simpler for this. My personal take on this cloud-based services is, yes, in the longer run, as in when you start becoming bigger, it will become a little more expensive, but then it is also about managing the cash flow. And what you could really do is, all of us, before this panel, we all were talking, and it was more about, do we invest time, few years, in doing that transformation together and then you're logged into the system? Or do you work with a lot of agile model and say, yes, here's something that has been built over an API, and if tomorrow we have to change it, can we use the same APIs? Can we use the same procedures or whatever we are doing and move into a different model if we have to, because that's becoming expensive, or there is a better solution now available in the market. So I think even ERP's models are changing. Few years ago it was all about tally. That's what CAs were comfortable with. Then they they wanted to use QuickBooks. And now that QuickBooks has shut in India, Tally has come up with a cloud solution and they're back to Tally. So I think all of those things are also changing. So it's changing with times. Sometimes it will be expensive, sometimes it will be cheaper, but I feel it helps you manage a lot of your cash flow if you go on a SaaS-based model, because there could be one-time fee to build that system out, which you can put to CapEx, and then everything else is OpEx for you. That's my take on it.
Perfect. Back at Croma, how is it?
Well, so let me try and put it in this way. So SaaS solutions, okay, definitely yes, there are.
Did you speak a little louder?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
SaaS solution, definitely, there are benefits. So quick benefits would be, in terms of faster implementation, deployments, measurable. So every SaaS solution, you can, whatever you implement is on basis of certain metrics, so hence it becomes measurable. What is the consumption actually? And definitely, you can manage your cash flows. But I would, also look with a different perspective, because when you're operating at a scale, okay, and in a large enterprise, let's say for example like Croma, where we have close to 350 plus stores and large warehouses, e-commerce business, omnichannel, etc. So it's very important to tightly manage, manage any SaaS solution. Okay, otherwise it can be a killer. So it's also important that before you implement a SaaS solution, what is the ROI that you're going to gain out of it? What's the value realization framework? So these things needs to be very tightly defined. Otherwise, the cost can just get bumped up very quickly. So what we also typically do in case of Croma is that whenever we are implementing any SaaS solution, which is very, let's say, which is very business facing, okay. During the implementation, yes, it might be a little bit of an optic thing, but yes, from a budgeting point of view, it sits as part of the technology cost. But moment it is implemented and business is going to get some benefits out of it, we shift that into the business P&L, so that even business is equally watching it, keeping an eye, very tight eye on it, and the cost does not go really haywire. So my perspective is that yes, it is good, but it needs to be tightly managed.
Pulkit, you're obviously working with a lot of new technologies. Tell us about how things are for you. Is the SaaS model the best way to go forward, and is that progressively becoming more and more expensive?
So for a brand like us, which is progressing now, I'll not say that we are truly evolved. We are 7-8 years old now, and in tech and D2C, we are just 3.5, 4 years old now. So at this stage of business and being bootstrapped, all the costs sitting in my P&L, I think SaaS is the right way. But having said that, one of the biggest challenges, API integrations, sometimes apps are not, or the SaaS companies are not flexible to work in the right framework that we want them to. So it becomes a challenge. But I think going forward, when we scale the business, we'll have to start developing few capabilities in-house. And I think while Tata can take that decision now, very difficult for us to take that decision of putting that into CapEx or not. Like I said, it's still bootstrapped at the moment, so lighter the better. For a long run, of course, we are looking at developing few things in-house. We are on Shopify, which is a lightest platform. And I think scaled up brands thrice the business, 4 times the business than us, are also on Shopify, still on Shopify. So I think scalability is not a problem. But when we have too many tech integrations, having few options of your own would help you out. So that's it for now.
Amit, you?
OpEx, CapEx. Well, it's not like one way kind of decision. It depends on which stage, or what thing you are taking the decision. Each of this has its own benefits. CapEx you can amortize and it can help you in balance sheet, right? OpEx doesn't helps you not to pay upfront costs. So at which stage of the journey you are in the organization, at what scale you are operating, where you want to put the most focus and mind space of your employees, which are the biggest assets. Whether you want to solve the commodity problems or whether you want to solve the actual customer problems. So whether to take, let's say in our business, right? Whether to build the ERP, does it make sense? We are not in that business. So whatever cost benefits are there, whether it's a own deployed cloud model of ERP system or on-prem or pure play cloud model, it can be, cost can be compared and decision can be taken. But our major focus is not in these decisions. These are once taken, done and dusted. It's more about solving the customer needs, focusing there, that how can I give better experiences, what are the real customer problems. For example, we are seeing a major use case which data is also indicating that on Swiggy Zomato, right, you cannot order from multiple brands together in single order, and you have to do multiple orders and multiple deliveries will happen. While on our app, Eat Sure, which is food court on app or smart food court, whatever you can call it, you can order from multiple great quality brands like our own brands, Behrooz, Biryani, Own Story, Faso, Sweet Truth and all. Then our franchisee brands, Wendy's, our investee brands, Smoor and all. You can combine in a single order and one delivery you will get everything out there. Because, so that is one thing, just one use case. And in long term, see, we have like very large problem statements. Our aspiration, if you see, food is the probably last frontier which has still to be cracked on internet. If you see on the retail side, Walmart was the biggest. Now Amazon is the, on media, entertainment, Blockbuster has gone, Netflix is the,
Got it, yeah.
in food, which is the biggest company still, McDonald's.
Right.
So there is a space open that how will we crack it on internet?
No, perfect. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. I'll open it to anyone. And the question is, we collect so much data on our customers. I mean, as sometimes, even as a business person, I wonder, itna data ke hum karenge kya? I mean, I just want you to tell me, are we collecting too much data? And in your own organizations, are we using all that data well enough? If you can just share some examples in your own business on this.
See, I think we are definitely collecting a lot of data, but is it a question of are we collecting too much data? I think it is a question of we have too much. It is about, do we have too much oil? We have oil, we need that. What we have to do is build efficient and scalable refineries, right? So I think that's where we are lagging, that processing, and the data still sits in silos. So I think what probably is needed is that by the time you build capability, because a lot of insights you need historical data. So what level of historical data you need to maintain, rest you can draw. And if you are not using that data today, you put it in a low cost storage, some archival system. But I see the challenge is not that we have too much data. The challenge is that we still have not the refineries which can process that data efficiently to drive value.
Anyone else has a
So,
perspective?
I would say data is going to be the fuel for running the business, correct? So definitely a lot of data is going to be required, and you need to do a lot of slice and dice on customer insights, segmentation, etc. Uh, what is very important is, the contextuality of consuming that data, okay, which means that, of course, technologically you will have built the foundation, you will have built, you know, data warehouse and all of that. But it's important that, how you're converting that data and representing it so that it is consumable by the business for insights, which will drive the business in short. So I think that whole layer of visualization which is there, and that is where I would say it's very important to have a right picture out over there. So that's basically that's where my take is. And in case of Croma, we are doing a lot of work on that side right now.
Pulkit, are there any challenges specific to the Indian environment as far as technology is concerned? Because you're doing a brand which is specifically to the Indian market, which you think your compatriots or whatever, the other guys in the US and Europe don't have? I mean, from a tech viewpoint.
So you're asking, can you have the question again? In
So
US,
I'm
they
saying in
have-
terms of technology, does the Indian environment have a lot of specific challenges which are probably not there elsewhere?
From a technology standpoint, I think India have all the kind of capabilities. But when it comes to operational capabilities, I think India is far behind. Like, for example, we're discussing today, returns is the biggest challenge in India. There's also a few other problems around operations, which are sometimes supported by tech and sometimes not supported by tech. For example, return is a problem. Now, how do we resolve it? We resolve it by exchange through the whole catalog. Now, the biggest of the brands like Myntra and Ajio, they started with exchange throughout the catalog only recently. It's not been too long. So I think we're in the right way, in the right direction. We are moving up, and we are solving operational challenges with technology. But I don't think India is at par when it comes to technology. India is supporting world to an extent in terms of tech and newer products which have been there in US the longest time. Now D2C becoming a buzz of the town. So those companies are coming to India, replications in one way or the other happening throughout. One-click checkout, which was adopted first in US, I think, and then in India there are a lot of options available for one-click checkout. So, and there is healthy competition when it comes to these kind of products. And I think I am enjoying that ride.
Okay. So I've got a last question, a little sensitive one. What is it that keeps you awake at night with respect to your job? What are the challenges that keep you awake at night? If at all it keeps you awake at night.
People sharing passwords with each other.
Sorry?
People sharing passwords with each other. You never know that when that will come and bite you anywhere on your body, but I think that's a big challenge. And most of the use cases that people think of are English only. I think it's high time that everybody thinks non-English too. Like for example, if my parents have to order, food, and if they have to give instructions, unfortunately it's only in English. My mom probably will not know, let's assume that my mom does not know English. You can't even think of tier 2 or tier 3 markets if you are only English. How can you give, kam ghee dalo yaar, cholesterol hai. You can't put that in English, a lot of folks cannot. So I think people need to start accepting a lot more non-English versions of everything. Any other language, but beyond English. That's what will keep me awake.
Fabulous. Pankaj, you sleep well, I'm presuming.
So I think that I don't want anything which would keep me or my team awake at night. I try and, I would say, build systems, processes, and tools so that everyone can sleep and can face challenges when they come. Because only if you have got a good sleep, you would be able to, challenges you don't know, it may come from anywhere, like we saw in COVID, right? So don't worry, try to create system process tools that you can face when it comes.
Amit, you, anything?
Not necessarily, actually.
Yeah.
So we have grown out of that phase in last many years, the way we have built the systems from technology perspective and everything. And the visibility perspective, whether it's data errors, any kind of anomalies. We are like 4 nines uptime, which is less than few hours downtime in a whole year. So nothing challenging on that side, but so nothing makes us awake at night. But what keeps us excited, the problem which we are solving at the scale at which we want to solve, and how can we, because it's a problem statement which probably will continue to scale for multiple decades, even when we are there with the belt or not. But this is the domain, quite fascinating one. So that keeps us excited every day.
Pulkit, you can have the last word.
I'll keep it very simple and short. What's keeping me awake is AI and ML. And in respect to fashion, of how, because fashion is ever changing. Every season, every second day, you have something or the other coming in. And AI ML is based on machine learning. You understand how our behavior is. And both the circles are rotating too fast. So that's keeping me awake now, that how do I layer it up right? And I've been struggling to find the right solution to it. Very difficult. When I go into the depths of it, it gets more interesting and difficult to understand how do I put my finger on a moving number stream. So yeah, that's keeping me awake, and I think a lot for me to absorb and react to how AI is going to shape up for fashion.
Thank you everyone for your time. I think we are coming to a close. And I think we elongated, I think we are keeping people from their beer. So we will have about, we'll be able to take 1 or 2 questions from the audience if anybody has. Yes, sir, please.
Hi, Pulkit. Hi, guys. This question is specifically for Pulkit. You said 40% of your revenue is coming through your app. What made you guys really go for an app when you know your product would probably have a life cycle of a repeat purchase? I don't know what the life cycle is, but just
in the last event, someone asked me what really made you go for it. My answer was FOMO, fear of missing out on not having an app. But to be honest, it was not that. It was the retention which made us go to that route. Plus, you'll see everything better. You'll see your AOV slightly better. You'll see lower returns. It's easier to get in touch with the customer when you have app notifications. So I think these 3-4 reasons helped us. And overall, when you have app and you're not spending too much for app downloads as a parallel stream of spends, I think you will do better overall. And you will see your number being better over a period of time. You'll see higher CLV for customers. So it's essential to have an app, but at a scale. You should not have app on the first day, but after you have enough scale the business, you go for app. My recommendation would be
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, it looks like no more questions. Well, thanks everybody. Have a good evening, and thank you all the panel members.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.